Revealing Ukrainian superweapons caused Russia to lose hundreds of millions of dollars in the Black Sea. The U.S. has no defense against Russian hypersonic missiles and Iranian drones. Israeli Prime Minister lowered his voice after the U.S. warned to stop supplying weapons. Revealing Ukrainian superweapons caused Russia to lose hundreds of millions of dollars in the Black Sea. Ukraine revealed what is considered Kiev's most effective weapon in the Black Sea after it cost Russia $500 million. Ukrainian intelligence revealed the extent of damage caused by Ukraine's Magura V-5 unmanned boat to ships of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Spokesman of the Defense Intelligence Agency of Ukraine Andriy Yusov said, "The secret of Kiev's Magura V-5 unmanned boat lies in the skills of Ukrainian manufacturers. They were able to create a unique vehicle to destroy the enemy fleet, and not only the fleet, but also the weapons and personnel on board at the time of the raid." The missions were carried out through a combination of skills of unmanned boat operators and specialists of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, in particular the Special Unit Group 13 of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, Mr. Yusov said. According to Mr. Yusov, the Magura V-5 is a formidable weapon and is considered the most effective against the Russian Black Sea Fleet since Moscow launched its military campaign in Ukraine. As of today, the Russian Black Sea Fleet has lost more than $500 million due to attacks by Ukrainian defense intelligence using Magura's V-5 drones, he said. He did not specifically state how Magura's caused the damage. Russia has not commented on the above statement. Magura V-5 is manufactured by Ukrainian company Spetstechnoexport. This vehicle has a length of 5.5 m, a range of 800 kilometers, and a maximum speed of 77 kilometers per hour. This device can carry 320 kilograms of explosives. According to Spetstechnoexport, the Magura V-5 suicide boat can be controlled via radio waves. The U.S. has no defense against Russian hypersonic missiles and Iranian drones. The Russia-Ukraine conflict and escalating tensions in the Middle East have shown that America's $886 billion defense budget has not translated into actual capabilities on the ground. Questioning on Capitol Hill revealed that North American skies are not only unprotected against Russian missiles, but even Iranian missiles. A formulaic meeting of senior Pentagon officials with lawmakers from the Strategic Forces Subcommittee of the Senate Armed Services Committee on May 8 attracted attention after officials the Ministry of Defense revealed the defense capabilities of the North American region. The truth is that we have no defense against hypersonic missiles, is that true? Mr. Hill, are there any defenses against hypersonic missiles? He was the commander of an aircraft carrier in the Greenland Gap. If we had a hypersonic missile launched from Murmansk, a city in northwestern Russia and the world's largest city above the Arctic Circle, moving at a speed of 9,600 kilometers per hour, what would you do? Chairman of the Strategic Forces Subcommittee, Senator Angus King questioned Deputy Secretary of Defense for Missile Defense and Space John Hill. We have some systems in place to defend in the late stages, but we need more than that. Senator King, you are right that our hypersonic defenses are not adequate to the threat and we need more. The Navy's SM-6 has terminal defense capabilities. As for the Patriot, General Gainey will specify. Those are examples, but the fact that we need to focus on hypersonic defense is undisputed, Deputy Minister Hill replied. So why are we talking about 2029 even beyond? This is next year's problem. I did not receive your budget proposal, Senator King objected, mentioning that current U.S. defense spending plans do not focus on anti-hypersonic weapons capabilities. What we faced with this year's budget, it was a difficult year, especially with the limitations of the Fiscal Responsibility Act. There are mandatory expenses we must deal with such as human resources, salaries, healthcare, and inflation costs. When forced to resolve such issues, you will have to control your options, Deputy Secretary Hill said. But that's your mission is missile defense, Senator King responded. Budget decisions are made at a higher level and so you have to trade off between readiness or future investment, Mr. Hill said. Let me put the question another way. Suppose what happened on April 14, Iran's missile and drone attack on Israel, happened in the Arctic Ocean, 300 people. Fire, drones flying over the Arctic Ocean towards Canada and North America. Can we do what Israel did? Can we shoot down 99% of incoming missiles and UAVs? Senator King asked. No. Chairman, Air Force General Gregory Guillot, commander of North American Command and North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, replied. That is worrying. What is the difference here? Why can they do it and we can't? Senator King continued to question. Mr. Chairman, part of the reason is because they have deployed forces. At the present time, we have that capability across the military services, but they are not assigned to the North American Command area of responsibility. In addition, just the number of assets we have in the region today will not be enough to deal with a large-scale attack like Iran has conducted, Mr. Guillot said. Israeli Prime Minister lowered his voice after the U.S. warned to stop supplying weapons. Through U.S. media, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his desire to overcome disagreements with the U.S. over the campaign in Rafah, but domestically he said otherwise. The two sides usually agree, but sometimes there are disagreements. We have been able to overcome those disagreements. I hope the two countries can overcome that now, but we will do what we have to do. To protect our country, the Israeli Prime Minister emphasized in an interview on the U.S. program Dr. Phil Primetime broadcast on May 9. Appease the U.S. and reassure the country. Mr. Netanyahu's message is clearly being sent to the United States, which has threatened to stop supplying some weapons to Israel because it fears Tel Aviv's military campaign in Rafah will affect civilians. This city is located in the south of the Gaza Strip, a place of refuge for hundreds of thousands of Palestinians after Israel sent troops into Gaza and gradually flooded this strip of land from north to south. U.S. President Joe Biden and other officials have publicly warned that they will stop supplying certain types of weapons to Israel if it attacks Rafah. However, according to Reuters news agency, billions of dollars of other U.S. weapons are still and will go to Israel. Israel has enough ammunition for planned missions, including the operation in Rafah, Israeli military spokesman Daniel Hagari affirmed in a statement on May 9, according to the Times of Israel. Emphasizing the coordination between the U.S. and Israel, Mr. Hagari said that Israeli Army Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi regularly talks with the head of the U.S. military command in the Middle East, General Michael Eric Kurilla. Even if there are disagreements between us, the two sides can still resolve them privately. Israel has security interests, but we are also aware of America's interests, and that is how we will continue to do, Rear Admiral Hagari added. While some commentators agree that the army may have the necessary weapons for a Rafah offensive, Israel would be in a difficult position if the conflict with the Hezbollah group in the north of the country develops into all-out war and Washington continued to refuse to provide ammunition. Reassuring and arousing national spirit is what Prime Minister Netanyahu is doing domestically, in response to warnings from the U.S. as well as the scenario mentioned above. In the war for independence 76 years ago, we were few but against many. We had no weapons, and were under an arms embargo, but with spiritual strength, courage and solidarity, we have won, Mr. Netanyahu emphasized in a video message broadcast on May 9. Today we are much stronger, Prime Minister Netanyahu continued. We are determined and united to defeat the enemy and those who seek to destroy us. If necessary, we will fight with our fingernails. But we have more than just fingernails. Negotiations between Israel and Hamas ended in deadlock. According to Israeli media, both Israeli and Hamas delegations left the ceasefire negotiations in Cairo, Egypt, on May 9. Before leaving, Israeli and Hamas negotiators both made accusations, criticizing the other side for delaying negotiations. Israel's Channel 12 also said that Director of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, Bill Burns had also returned to Washington. According to an Egyptian source quoted by Al Qahira newspaper, Egyptian, Qatari and American mediators are trying to bring the positions of Israel and Hamas closer together. During negotiations with Mr. Burns on May 8, The Israeli side criticized the head of the CIA for continuing negotiations in Egypt despite Hamas's unacceptable terms. They also said that Mr. Burns' presence risked creating a misunderstanding that Hamas's demands could be seen as a basis for promoting a ceasefire.